Afternoon, friends. This has been a long, bitter 2 years where thousands of our friends and relatives have died and many millions have suffered isolation and illness due to the pandemic. Well, let's be clear. Not everyone has had a bad pandemic. There are more millionaires and more billionaires in Britain than there have ever been. Stock prices on the stock exchange have never been higher, and increasing costs of property have meant those with the most capital are laughing all the way to the bank, while working class people have suffered and tried to keep our society going. That is the situation in which we find ourselves today. And now the Tory government and the ruling class in Britain are going to use the aftermath of COVID to rebalance things even further. Already, Britain is the most unequal country of all of the developed countries in Northern Europe, the most unequal. And this government is about to make things considerably worse. That is what the cost of living crisis means. There is a three-pronged attack coming on ordinary people. First, through tax increases. And don't get me wrong, I am in favour of a high tax economy. But who pays tax is a very political choice. And this government has decided that ordinary working people will pay more tax in order that the most wealthy will enjoy the best, lowest tax rates they've ever had. That is why I'm part of an all-party campaign to cancel the national insurance increase and bring in a wealth tax in this country which will tax those with the most. Second, they are driving up prices, and you don't have to be a mathematician to understand that if inflation is at 6 or 7% and wage increases are at 1 or 2 and benefits are being frozen, then people's real living standards are going to fall. And they do that with the shamefaced arrogance to say that in that context people shouldn't ask for a living wage and for a wage increase in order to meet that cost of living. And the third way in which they're doing it is through the energy crisis as well, where we have seen what we are seeing in this country, why we are so vulnerable to it, is despite the fact we have 40% of the world's gas reserves that were coming in, mainly made in the UK, we have no control over it, because unlike many other countries, we don't have a national energy company that controls the production of energy. And I say to you this, my friends, that as we go forward to build the resistance to what is about to come upon us, we need to be clear about one thing. Because I know not everyone in this crowd supports independence for Scotland as I do. But let me say this. Do not be seduced by the Tory argument that somehow the debate about Scotland's constitutional future is a distraction from the real campaign about the cost of living or anything else. It is not. They are two sides of the same coin, because the way in which this country is governed fundamentally determines the fortunes of each and every one of us. And the fact is this, that we are in a situation where we need to have real change, and other speakers have referred to. But we face a situation where the Westminster government and the British state will not make those changes, and the devolution settlement provides a Scottish government that does not have the ability to make those changes. So if we really want to see a national state energy company which will control our renewable resources and exploit them for the people who live here rather than for the global rich, if we want to see a fair system of tax and reward with a basic universal income and proper pensions, if we want to see proper investment in our public services, and if we want to see weapons of mass destruction removed from the environs of the city, then we have to take the power into our own hands. And we have to build a new country where all of those things are achievable. And I want that to be the broadest based campaign. I know that some of you are not yet convinced about that, but believe me, the point of striving for an independent Scotland is not to put a tartan bonnet on the leader of whoever's elected to it. The point of it is to be able to change and recast this economy and this society so that it benefits all of the people who live here rather than the privileged few. So as we build as we should the resistance, I hope we can work together, comrades. I hope that all of us, despite our party affiliation, can build the biggest, broadest-based campaign against the Tories. And I hope also that we will seize the opportunity when it is presented to us to take into our own hands the ability to change things, not just for one day, but forever.
Good speech, Tony. Getting a lot of support.
Thanks very much, Tommy.